Hello, friends. You've stumbled across a short clip from the Daily Switch 2 podcast, which, believe it or not, is a podcast that is about the Switch 2 with new episodes released daily. What will they think of next? Once Upon a Katamari. Again, fantastic start to this direct. Another great game. This is from Bandai Namco, of course. For those that don't know Katamari, it's a long-running series. I believe it started on the PS2 in around 2004, was it? It's sort of an action puzzle game where it's very unique. You roll a ball around, or a Katamari as they're called, to collect stuff, and the stuff that your ball touches sticks to your ball, and therefore your ball grows larger, a bit like rolling a snowball around in the snow, or a rolling stone gathering. No, rolling stones gather no moss. Do they? I don't know. But, something rolling down a hill and getting larger and larger, like a snowball. And it's all very bizarre. The humor is very off kilter. The art is very off kilter. Becoming more and more ridiculous as time goes by. Your Katamari gets larger and larger and larger. It starts off, you're just picking up kind of rubbish and debris, and by the end of it, they're literally kind of planet size. It's a really cool series. At the time when it launched in 2004, there was pretty much nothing like it. It was completely unique. However, since then we've had 6 or 7 full real games, which are all much of a muchness. They're all really cool, but they're all very similar. Obviously, you can only have that unique idea once, and then all the sequels after that are just kind of building upon that unique idea. Plus, there's been multiple remakes, including the first 2 games, or the first 2 main games, because there were mobile games and things like that as well. But the first 2 main games have been recently remade and re-released on the Switch 1 and other consoles as well. But this is a totally brand new game. And they say you roll through the ages. You've got the Jurassic era, Ice Age era, historic Japan, and various other kind of eras throughout history, each with their own, graphical style and cool things to pick up. From what we saw in the trailer, I thought it was really, really cool. As I mentioned during the live, I thought it was really cool how it's not just the level graphics that change, even the HUD changes, and the fonts and the on-screen stuff. I just thought that looked really cool. And again, I am a sucker for dinosaurs, so anything that puts dinosaurs on the screen instantly goes up in my estimation. They mentioned there's new music from artists that have previously made music for previous games, and that's really, really cool, because the Katamari series is very much known for having really cool, really iconic music. So it's great that they're bringing new music, but it's also really great that they're rewarding and re-collaborating with people who with artists and groups who have worked on previous iterations of the Katamari series. It also says you can play as the prince or one of his 68 cousins. So those eagle-eyed of you will notice that's 69 characters. Nice. But you can then customize them with different colors and faces. And I believe that's new to the series. I don't remember that being a thing before. Definitely new to the series is online multiplayer. There's 4-player Katamari Ball. And you can also play Katamari Ball offline against CPU characters. So I thought that was actually really cool, and that does add more replay value, assuming that the CPU players are semi-decent. My one disappointment was that it is a Switch 1 exclusive, as I mentioned, or, at least Switch 1 and not Switch 2. There's no dedicated Switch 2 version, which is a shame. And I did unfortunately notice some frame rate issues, some frame skipping and some hitching. Hopefully If you buy the Switch One cart or the Switch One digital download and you play it on the Switch 2, hopefully those issues will be cleared out, hopefully. And just the reason that they used Switch One footage was because there's some kind of technical reason why they're not allowed to do that. If it's a Switch One game, they have to use Switch One footage to advertise it or something like that. I don't know. But I really hope that if you play it on the Switch 2, it will play better. But of course, we won't know until it comes out. It's available to pre-order right now, I believe. It says there's a pre-order bonus of 3 face customizations, but it does have a asterisk and say these are available through normal play, which in my opinion is really good. I don't really like it when games try and force you to pre-order by having exclusive bonuses which you can only get if you pre-order. It always seems a little bit scummy to me. I prefer to not pre-order and to wait until the game comes out to read reviews, etc. So it is really good that the pre-order bonuses are available through normal play. There's also what they're calling a reroll bonus of Cousin Young King, so an exclusive character that is available for people who have save data on their console from either Katamari Damacy Reroll or We Love Katamari Reroll and Royal Reverie. So yeah, if you've bought either of the 2 semi-recent Switch 1 remakes, then you're obviously a big fan, so they will give you that bonus of an extra character, and that's really cool. I think that's neat because it's not charging you any extra, and it's just rewarding you for loyalty and being a true fan of the series. I think that's really cool. However, the pricing is where it starts getting a little bit iffy. There are 2 DLC packs. Again, it's a real... I know this is standard nowadays, but it's a real bugbear of mine when games launch with day 1 DLC. Again, that is something that I will absolutely, I promise you right now, and you can hold me to this, I will never do with my own games. With my own games that I release, yes, I might eventually expand them with DLC. In fact, I fully plan to if the games are popular enough to warrant it. But if something is ready day 1, it is included day 1. DLC for me is something that you do 6 months or a year down the line to give people a reason to come back to the game. Day 1 DLC really bothers me. And also for me, DLC has to be really substantial in order to make it worthwhile doing so, have like real playable content, extra campaigns, etc. This DLC is the more kind of modern description of day 1 DLC, where it's just content that, to be honest, I wish should have been included in the first place, and it's not really gameplay stuff. It's more kind of cosmetic-y and things. So you have 26 costumes from past series, which is really cool if you're a fan of the series like me, and 60 songs from the past series. So again, if you're like me and you're a big fan of the series, of course you're going to be very nostalgic for the previous games, and you're going to want those costumes, you're going to want those songs, and it'll make it feel like the ultimate Katamari game because it will have all of those characters and all of those songs and all of the costumes, and it'll feel a bit like a best of. So I can really see the appeal in that, but for me it's just a shame that they decided to hide that behind DLC and not just include it with the game as like a thank you to fans and a celebration of this series. To me, if I was making the game, I wouldn't have charged extra. I think it's a little bit scummy, but I see what they're doing. The price is $40 for the standard digital edition. $40 is a decent price, to be honest with you. Or $60 for what they're calling King of Sounds version. Presumably King of Sounds version includes both of those DLC packs. However, I can't actually find that 100% confirmed anywhere. But I think so. I think $60. So basically, if you want the whole game, it's $60, not $40. But if you don't care, then if you don't care about the 60 songs and 26 costumes, then it's $40. Still, $60, compared to the price of other third-party Switch 2 games, that's pretty good. But it's not a Switch 2 game, is it? It's just a Switch 1 game without a Switch 2 version. And Switch 1 games, that tend to be kind of more retro-themed and more indie-themed, like this kind of game. Not that Bandai Namco is an indie, but you know what I mean. It is more of a niche title, isn't it? Switch 1 games in the past have tended to be kind of $30, so it's actually upping the price a little bit and then doubling it if you want the full experience. So that kind of annoys me. But still, it's not terrible. Could be worse. The standard retail version for Switch 1 will be available. I couldn't find a confirmed price for that, but I assume that it's also $40, just like the standard digital edition version. If it is, that's a reasonable price. Again, as I said, it used to be kind of 30 was standard for this kind of game on Switch 1, but 40 is fine. I can deal with that. Obviously, with Switch 1, the full game will be on the cartridge, but I assume it doesn't include the DLC. So even if you buy the full physical release game, you'll have to download the DLC. And again, from a preservation standpoint, I really don't like that. From a presentation standpoint, I wish everything was available on the cartridge. Again, this is something that I think about with my own games, of like, okay, as I said, I do have some plans for some of my games to potentially have DLC in the future, maybe 6 months to a year after release. But then the question comes, okay, but what about the people who want the physical version and want to own, the entire game? I always hate it as a collector if you buy a game as a physical copy and then 6 months to a year down the line, you get a second physical copy released with the DLC on it. To me, that always seems a bit scummy. So I'm looking at different ways around that, either not releasing the physical copy until all DLC is released, or having some kind of code whereby the DLC can be free, or people can maybe send in the cartridges and swap them for the newer version. I don't know. I'm considering lots of options. But again, keep it locked to this channel, because it's something that I will be talking to my audience about and asking for opinions, because I know a lot of you guys who listen to me regularly are real collectors of physical games. So I want your opinions, and preferably come and join us on the free Patreon tier. There is a free Patreon tier, but that's the best place to let me know that you really, really care about the channel. And also, you can join in with all their discussions, and you can enter our free competitions to win free Nintendo prizes every month. So yeah, Linktree/DailySwitch2, linktr.ee/DailySwitch2. Didn't mean to turn that into an advert there, but genuinely, yeah, it is something that I'd love to talk to people about, because it's something that I do think about a lot. So again, with Once Upon a Katamari, this could have been an S-tier announcement, just like I said with Monster Hunter Stories. But the fact that it is Switch 1 only, there were some frame rate issues clearly present, and there is DLC that's not included on the physical version. It does bump it down a little bit. It still looks super, super cool, though. I'm really happy to have a new game in the series. It's a great series, and hopefully playing it on the Switch too, the frame rate will be better. It is really, really great to have a new game in a series that I like, and a relatively niche series. Even if perhaps some people will maybe feel a bit burned out by Katamari, because we've had two quite recent remakes of Damacy and We Love Katamari. So I'm going to put it in A tier rather than S tier. Although I think it probably has to come behind Monster Hunter Stories 3, doesn't it? As it's not on Switch 2, and $60 for the full thing is a little bit steep. And the DLC not being on the physical version is not great. Still, it's an absolutely great start. That's 2 for 2, two really good games for the Direct. Well, that was funny slash sad slash informative slash stupid, wasn't it? Feel free to mentally redact to make that make sense with the clip that you just heard. I don't know what it was. I'm just recording a bumper. But if you enjoyed the clip, please give it a like. If you'd like to hear more, click subscribe, and you can find all the ways to listen to and support the full daily podcast at linktree/dailyswitch2. That's linktr.ee/daily switch 2. Let's go! Did I sound like I mean that? I do. I really do.